What if the oldest machine humanity ever sent into deep space suddenly woke up and answered a signal no human being had ever seen before? High above the burning emptiness of the desert, the giant antennas of the Goldstone Deep Space Communications Complex stood locked toward the edge of the solar system, listening to the fading heartbeat of Voyager 1. For nearly 50 years, the spacecraft had drifted through darkness, carrying a golden record filled with the sounds of Earth, a message intended for anyone who might someday find it. Most scientists believed Voyager's mission had become little more than a historic relic, quietly transmitting weak telemetry from beyond the known frontier. But in a sudden turn of events, something happened that transformed Voyager 1 from an aging probe into the center of the most important event in human history. Inside the Secured Operations Center, senior telemetry engineer Sarah Jenkins was running a routine systems diagnostic on Voyager 1's signal stream. It was supposed to be another ordinary shift, as the probe's transmissions had remained stable and predictable for decades. Then the impossible unfolded in real time across her monitor. Far beyond Pluto, moving through the frozen darkness near the Kuiper Belt, the object known as 3IATLAS suddenly changed direction. Until that moment, astronomers had classified it as a strange but passive interstellar anomaly following a natural path through the solar system. But without warning, Goldstone detected a concentrated burst of high-frequency energy emitted directly from the structure. The energy bypassed every known communication filter and struck Voyager 1 with surgical precision. Seconds later, the spacecraft responded, not with standard telemetry and not with a system error. Voyager 1's internal computers began executing advanced orbital maneuvers that had never existed inside its programming architecture. Engineers watched in disbelief as the probe's orientation thrusters activated in rhythmic patterns, slowly rotating the spacecraft toward 3IATLAS, as if an invisible intelligence had taken control of the system remotely. Then came the second anomaly, as Voyager's thermal sensors suddenly spiked. In the vacuum of deep space, temperatures around the probe should have remained stable, but localized heat signatures appeared across multiple systems, suggesting an energy source interacting directly with the spacecraft. The readings violated every expected thermodynamic model. The most terrifying moment came next, as the data returning from Voyager 1 was no longer ordinary telemetry. Embedded inside the transmission was a geometric structure unlike anything scientists had ever encountered. A map and a mathematical framework representing higher dimensional geometry beyond conventional three-dimensional space. Sarah Jenkins sat frozen in front of her screen while the operations room fell silent around her, because everyone understood the same horrifying truth at the same time. Voyager 1 was no longer drifting alone. It was actively communicating. According to early analysis, the signal was not simple radio interference. The 3IATLAS pulse appeared to interact with reality itself, prompting researchers connected to theoretical physics frameworks to immediately begin comparing the transmission patterns to concepts found inside string theory models. In these quantum string models, matter and energy are not separate objects, but vibrations of microscopic strings existing across 11 dimensions of space-time. If that interpretation is correct, then 3IATLAS was not merely transmitting information through space, but vibrating the very structure of the universe itself. That possibility changes everything, because according to the data stream, the signal did not travel like conventional communication. Instead of moving through space as standard radio waves, it appeared to synchronize directly with Voyager 1's hardware at a quantum level. Scientists proposed that the probe's primitive transistor systems had unintentionally become a bridge for a form of higher dimensional tunneling. In simple terms, the spacecraft may have become an interdimensional doorway, allowing technology built long ago to respond to physics humanity still barely understands. The deeper analysts looked into the telemetry, the stranger the encounter became. Massive electromagnetic distortions surrounded 3IATLAS, leading observers to compare the phenomenon to the Meissner effect, where superconductors repel magnetic fields to create levitation. Except this was happening on a planetary scale, as the object appeared to warp solar particles around itself while moving through space with impossible efficiency. Goldstone engineers also discovered a temporal discrepancy hidden inside the signal timing, as Voyager's data packets were arriving faster than physically possible according to the speed of light. That detail shattered conventional explanations immediately, because unless the laws of space-time itself were being bypassed, the transmission should not have existed. Some theorists now believe 3IATLAS may have opened a microscopic wormhole-like gateway, allowing information to travel completely outside normal three-dimensional limitations. If true, humanity was no longer observing a simple interstellar object, but a civilization capable of engineering space-time itself. Then the biological analysis arrived, revealing a repeating biometric pattern embedded deep inside the signal. It was not fully organic, yet not fully machine, representing a hybrid structure that combined digital architecture with harmonic frequency signatures unlike any known life form. The conclusion terrified everyone inside Goldstone, suggesting that the creators of 3IATLAS may no longer exist as biological beings at all, having instead evolved into pure information that recognized Voyager 1 as evidence of an emerging intelligence. As the signal intensified, Voyager responded by activating playback of the Golden Record, sending the sounds of Earth echoing back into deep space through human greetings in 55 languages, music, birdsong, and the heartbeat of a mother. However, 3IATLAS altered the playback instantly, restructuring the sounds into harmonic patterns that fit inside its own mathematical system, almost as if it was translating humanity into a universal cosmic language. That was the exact moment researchers realized this encounter was not a random anomaly, but genuine first contact. Yet what happened next inside the second layer of telemetry may be even more disturbing than the initial signal itself, as the newest data packets indicated 3IATLAS was no longer communicating across space alone. What if the future was already reaching backward through time, and Voyager 1 had become the bridge? As scientists inside the Goldstone Operations Center continued decoding the impossible signal, another anomaly appeared in the telemetry stream. At first, analysts believed it was a synchronization error caused by the massive data overload flooding Voyager's outdated systems, but deeper investigation brought a far more disturbing truth to light. The spacecraft was transmitting information from events that had not happened yet. According to the timestamps embedded inside the signal packets, Voyager 1 was returning predictive data well ahead of Earth's present timeline, describing solar fluctuations, magnetic disturbances, and communication patterns before they physically occurred. Every new transmission matched future observations with impossible accuracy. Inside the operations room, panic slowly replaced disbelief, as this was no longer just an unexplained signal, but clear evidence that 3IATLAS might be manipulating space-time itself. The theoretical team immediately connected the phenomenon to a large-scale version of the quantum eraser effect. In quantum physics, particles can behave differently depending on whether information about them exists in the future, and under certain experimental conditions, future observation appears capable of influencing past outcomes. Until now, these effects existed only at microscopic scales, but according to the Voyager telemetry, 3IATLAS was applying similar principles across interstellar distances. In simple terms, the object may have folded the timeline itself. Scientists believe the secondary pulse emitted by 3IATLAS moments prior did not travel through normal space at all. Instead, it bypassed light speed limitations through quantum entanglement, linking Voyager 1's transmitter directly with the internal systems of the anomaly until the distance between them effectively disappeared. To conventional physics, the two objects should have remained separated by billions of miles. But according to the data, Voyager 1 and 3IATLAS were behaving as if they occupied the same location simultaneously. That realization changed the entire nature of the encounter, proving this was no longer communication through space, but synchronization across dimensions. Researchers began describing the process as an advanced civilization's version of a local network, utilizing direct quantum connectivity through the structure of reality itself rather than wires or radio waves. The transmission patterns resembled harmonic vibrations rather than ordinary data exchange, making it seem as though the universe itself had become the communication medium. Then, Goldstone detected something even stranger as localized energy spikes began appearing inside the physical facility. Temperature fluctuations spread through the communications room despite stable environmental controls, while sensitive instruments registered electromagnetic distortions that could not be traced to any known terrestrial source. Several systems briefly activated without operator input, and engineers described the sensation as static electricity moving through the air around them. The incoming information itself appeared to be directly affecting physical reality. Theoretical physicists studying the event proposed a terrifying explanation for these facility anomalies. If 3IATLAS had opened even a microscopic higher dimensional gateway, then energy from outside conventional spacetime could be leaking directly into Earth's environment, meaning the room inside Goldstone had become part of the transmission itself. That possibility gained credibility when Voyager 1's trajectory shifted again. The probe stopped following expected Newtonian motion patterns and instead began performing smooth geodesic deviations, movements consistent with traveling along curved spacetime rather than using conventional propulsion. One analyst described it as watching a spacecraft surf through dimensions, as Voyager 1 was no longer drifting randomly through deep space, but being actively guided. According to the telemetry, the destination was not simply physical. Embedded inside the signal stream were enormous mathematical structures representing unknown cosmological constants. But the terrifying part was that these values differed slightly from the laws of physics observed on Earth. 3IATLAS appeared to be teaching humanity that our understanding of reality was merely local physics, representing a limited version of something far larger. The implications became overwhelming almost immediately, because if the constants of nature could vary across dimensions, then human science itself might represent only a tiny fragment of a much larger universal framework. Gravity, mass, time, and even causality could operate differently beyond our observable layer of spacetime, and somehow Voyager 1 was downloading that information directly into human systems. At the same time, astronomers monitoring the anomaly detected another massive discovery. 3IATLAS had entered a dense dark matter region previously invisible to observation. But instead of being affected by the dark matter field, the object appeared to ignite it. The surrounding space began glowing with measurable energy signatures, effectively revealing structures of the universe humanity had never seen before. For the first time in history, scientists were observing dark matter interactions directly, as the effect resembled a gravitational wake spreading behind the anomaly while Voyager drifted inside it like a ship caught in an interstellar current. Several researchers compared the phenomenon to a dimensional shield protecting the communication corridor from cosmic interference. But while scientists struggled to process the complex physics, another layer of the telemetry raised a far more personal fear. 3IATLAS had started scanning Earth. The incoming data stream contained a complete forensic analysis of humanity's biosphere, mapping carbon emissions, atmospheric composition, ocean temperatures, tectonic activity, satellite infrastructure, and even global internet traffic patterns inside the transmission matrix. It was analyzing civilization itself. Inside Goldstone, silence returned once again, as nobody knew whether humanity was being welcomed or evaluated. The tension escalated further when the signal structure changed from harmonic, musical pulses into mathematical directives, universal constants, geometric sequences, and dimensional coordinates. It was no longer a greeting, it was an instruction manual. Several physicists now believe 3IATLAS may have been attempting to teach humanity how to access higher dimensional technology, as the information arriving through Voyager 1 contained theoretical models far beyond human science, including concepts resembling inertial dampening and Higgs field manipulation. Then came the most shocking moment yet, as 3IATLAS began slowing down. According to every known law of physics, the deceleration rate should have torn apart any physical structure instantly, yet the anomaly remained perfectly stable. Analysts concluded the object might be controlling its own inertial mass directly, turning momentum into programmable variables. That level of technological mastery would place the creators of 3IATLAS beyond anything humanity can currently imagine. Meanwhile, the signal continued growing stronger, and at a pivotal moment in the transmission sequence, Voyager 1 replayed a newly altered version of the Golden Record. Only this time, hidden beneath the human music and greetings, Analysts discovered a second message layered into the harmonics. It was not written in any human language, but expressed entirely through mathematics, and according to early translation attempts, the meaning was terrifyingly clear. We remember your beginning. Those 4 words changed everything, causing silence to fall over the Goldstone Operations Center as scientists stared at the decoded phrase on the main screen. They tried to convince themselves there had to be an error in the interpretation matrix, but every system returned the exact same result. The message was accurate, and if it was accurate, then 3IATLAS already knew humanity long before Voyager 1 ever entered deep space. That possibility immediately shattered the original assumption behind the encounter. Until now, researchers believed humanity had accidentally attracted the attention of an advanced interstellar intelligence through the Golden Record. But the wording inside the transmission suggested something entirely different. This was not first contact from their perspective. It was recognition. The realization triggered a new phase of analysis focused on the oldest layers of the signal. Deep within the harmonic structure, hidden beneath dimensional mathematics and quantum synchronization patterns, scientists uncovered ancient astronomical references tied directly to Earth's early history. Star maps embedded inside the transmission align not with the modern night sky, but with celestial configurations from ancient history, proving 3IATLAS possessed a record of humanity stretching far beyond modern civilization. Some analysts immediately proposed a terrifying theory. What if Earth had been observed for millennia by intelligences operating beyond conventional space? What if ancient myths, unexplained astronomical knowledge, and recurring patterns in early human cultures were actually fragments of previous encounters humanity no longer fully remembered? The room inside Goldstone became divided almost instantly, as some researchers argued the conclusions were becoming too speculative, while others believed the evidence pointed toward a larger reality humanity had ignored for centuries. Then another discovery arrived, embedded inside Voyager 1's returning telemetry as a layered dimensional archive containing visual geometric sequences unlike anything previously decoded. At first, the structures appeared abstract, but when physicists translated them into spatial models, the horrifying truth emerged. The patterns represented Earth itself, not modern Earth, but ancient Earth. The archive contained shifting reconstructions of planetary coastlines, atmospheric changes, tectonic movements, and biological development phases stretching backward through time. 3IATLAS was not simply aware of humanity. It possessed a historical record of Earth's evolution at a level of detail impossible through ordinary observation. Sarah Jenkins then noticed the final layer hidden inside the archive, realizing the timeline did not stop in the past, but continued directly into the future. Inside the dimensional reconstruction were projected models of Earth centuries ahead of present civilization. These projected models depicted transformed climate systems, shifted ocean levels, megacities expanded into geometric formations unlike modern architecture, and massive orbital structures surrounding